Welcome to my Bleach discussion series. Today we're going to be discussing chapter 1. But before we get to that, I need to make a disclaimer. This is not going to be highly edited because of the time frame that I have. I have a month to get to the 1,000-year blood war within the manga. For the most part, you're going to be seeing me talking in this black void. However, there are going to be some scenes, some clips of me showing you the manga panel to further articulate my point of view. I'm doing this because I've watched all of the anime, but I haven't read all of the manga. I've only read the 1,000-year blood war and the last portion of the Fullbringer arc. Anyways, without further ado, let's actually talk about chapter 1. So the first topic that we'll be discussing is the manga composition and how it varies within this chapter in terms of quality. Let's start with the higher quality one. The action-heavy scenes, the action sequences are beautifully composed, while on the other hand, we have the dialogue-heavy scenes, the talking scenes, the exposition dumps. They are terrible in terms of manga composition. Let me explain. So when talking about manga composition, especially within this first chapter, there are two main concepts I want to focus in on. One is positive and negative space, and the other is balance. Positive space is where your eye is drawn to, the subject matter of the piece, while negative space is the opposite. In essence, the background. As for balance, it's self-explanatory. It's how you mix these two components together to make sure that not one component is overwhelming the other. And what I mean by this is just look at this page. Look at how much of a mess it is. Where is your eye being drawn to? Where are you looking at? Where is the focus of this page? Is it the art? Is it the dialogue? Is it the sound effect? Now, individually, these components, these visual components, could work by themselves. However, together within this page, they combine into a mess, into an unclear, incoherent page. It's too busy. There's too much on the page, too much to focus on. There's not enough room for us to actually take a rest and take in the information that we're getting. This is the same problem that One Piece has within its later arcs. There's just too many instances of this happening within the same chapter. Almost half of the pages are just like this. However, there are also action-heavy scenes which don't have these problems. And the main difference between these scenes is the lack of dialogue. To me, this is an indication of Kubo not knowing where to place his dialogue, how to compose his manga, combining action and dialogue together. Now, with that being said, let's actually look at those pages with good composition. Look at these set of pages. It's amazing. We start out with a third-person perspective of Ichigo running downstairs, rushing to see what happened with his family. And then we shift to his perspective, to his point of view. And we see what he sees. His dad on the floor, collapsed, injured. And then we shift back into third person to see his reaction. And there, we go back into his perspective, and we see what he's looking at, what he's focusing on. The hole in the wall, the shadow that appears, the hollow. And then we shift back to third person and we see his reaction. We see how terrified he is. This is good storytelling, visual storytelling. It doesn't tell you what Ichigo is feeling. It shows you. And being a visual medium like manga, this is so effective in terms of storytelling. Because it conveys everything that needs to be conveyed. Everything that you need to know within a short few panels. And you get the context, you get the emotion. You get to see Ichigo Kurosaki being terrified of a hollow terrorizing his family. And this is just a glimpse of Kubo's capabilities in visual storytelling. And this is his story, his journey to becoming a master. And as I go through this read-through, I get to see that more clearly. And in fact, we get to see an improvement, a major improvement, within combining his dialogue and his action within the next chapter. While it isn't masterful just yet, it is a major improvement from chapter 1. Anyways, I'll talk more about this visual storytelling in our next video, the Orihime story arc. Now let's move on to my last discussion topic, the censorship. So going into this read-through, I knew that there was going to be censorship, but I thought that was going to be later on, like in Soul Society or the Arrancar Saga. I didn't know that it started here, right here in episode 1. Remember the ghost girl that Ichigo helped in the beginning of the chapter, in the beginning of the episode? Yeah, apparently she died. She was brutally devoured by this hollow. It's gruesome. Within the anime, she got to live. She got to have multiple cameos within the anime. That is such a big difference. So let me explain why this is such a big deal. There's a stark contrast in the portrayal of Ichigo's powers. In the anime, it was much more helpful, it was much more uplifting, like he was a chosen one. While in the manga, it was portrayed as something tragic. Within the anime, the ghost girl was saved because of Ichigo's spiritual pressure, spiritual energy. It attracted and lured away the hollow that was hunting the ghost girl. While in the manga, Ichigo's lingering spiritual energy attracted that hollow to attack the little girl, causing her demise. Within the anime, Ichigo's powers were portrayed as something great, something that was a blessing, while the ghost girl dying within the manga added to the fact that Ichigo's spiritual pressure was a detriment to him protecting his loved ones. Yeah, that got dark real quick. This has been fun, discussing Chapter 1 with you. Hopefully you'll join me for my next discussion of Orihime's story arc within the Agent of the Shinigami. Following that, we'll probably talk about Ichigo's backstory, Ichigo's tragic past. If you liked anything that I had to say, please subscribe. Also, follow my Twitter, I'll be active there. And also follow my Pixiv because I do a lot of art, as you can see from my previous videos. That is all I have to say. Peace out.